Everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with y'all a stock that is about to go crazy tomorrow and why y'all should keep it in your watch list. We're also going to look at what to expect for tomorrow's FOMC meeting, all right? And we're going to talk about some of the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video. Alright, y'all, let's dive right into the charts right off the bat. We got the SPY over here. And so far, today we had a nasty sell-off. In the middle of the day, the SPY looked like it held its own until after hours. Alright. But this move right here was due to the reaction to earnings. A lot of stocks reported earnings. Google reported, I believe Microsoft reported, AMD reported. We're going to look at those, all right? But I want y'all to just pay attention to this. Y'all remember in Sunday night's video where I told you guys that the market will be playing games until we get to Wednesday at exactly 1 p.m. Central Time, right? Until volatility kicks in tomorrow at that time. I told y'all that we were going to chop, the SPY itself was going to chop between this range and that range. And if we were to get above it on the SPY, it could be a better trap. All right. I wasn't completely sure at the time when I saw this thing break out of here, right? Because I told you that I was still bullish on the Dow Jones. And the Dow Jones looked like this, DIA, yeah, right? The Dow Jones looked like this. I was still bullish on it for the move up here to 385. It didn't get there as soon as I thought it could get there. It took a sweet time and got there at the close, right? But it doesn't matter because anybody who bought it here has, like, I don't want to say have to sell, but it will be wise if you did, all right? Because this is where you're supposed to sell. If it's spiked in the morning, you're supposed to sell that. If it takes a sweet time and you held throughout the entire thing, you want to sell that because tomorrow is not looking that great, especially when you look at like the SPY and the QQQ, which are currently down heavily. All right, again, a lot of these indices, these three indices, the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the SPY, they tend to move together. Sometimes there is money flowing from one sector to another, right? Like we call that a rotation. Sometimes it happens, but eventually they catch up to one another and they end up moving in the same direction. All right, so I think that this move is done, and if you decided to be super greedy and you're hoping for 390, I think that's I don't think that's wise. I think that's a pretty bad idea. All right, but back to the SPY. Back to what I was saying with the SPY. Now, this right here represents a bear trap that has been confirmed. All right. So first we got the range. We break out of it and then we get back into the range. I'm going to erase this bottom line so that y'all could see what it showed before trapping. It showed an ascending triangle on the chart that broke out a little too early for my liking personally. Like, it broke out way too early for me to have any confidence that it would actually go towards like 5,000, for example, right? So it looked a little sus. And today, sus price action, and then now we have the sell-off. Let's talk about the stocks that reported earnings. All right, let's talk about those after I've mentioned the one that's going to go crazy tomorrow. All right, that stock that is about to go crazy tomorrow, that one looks like Intel. Intel looks ready to finally make a big move down. All right, I made a video about this one before, and Intel is a semiconductor stocks notorious for having negative reaction through earnings. The bear flag is there. All right, the bear flag is there, as you can see, and it failed to bounce up here to 46 before AMD reported earnings. It went sideways, played games, and this is actually the first day on the daily chart where it closed below the resistance, no, below the support of that earnings day right here. All right, so my thoughts and opinions on this thing are not changing. Follow the diagram, and I think the stock is going to follow the diagram and drop all the way down to 40 bucks very, very soon. All right, so that is a stock that is about to go insane. We're going to look at the reaction to AMD. All right, and with AMD, I posted about this one pre-market because it had the structure on the charts. All right, first there was UPS, which had a negative reaction to it. I wasn't expecting a negative reaction, but that's what the market gave us. But this one really caught my attention. All right, there was a bearish panic cooking on AMD, and that is also reporting earnings in the afternoon. I thought the reaction was going to be negative because of the structure on here. So I told everybody to put an alert right below, right here, just like I did on the chart, right at 175. And if it breaks below it and closes at 175, the stock could be brought down to 162. That little green circle right here. All right. And going back to what's happening now, it did exactly just that. It's at 161. It didn't turn out to be a bear trap where it looks really, really clean and then it spikes to 190. It wasn't one of those scenarios. Like the charts and the outcome all make sense. All right. Now, could it go a little bit lower than this? Yeah, most likely. Most likely. It might play games out the gates. The contracts are super inflated. This drop right here is only going to be a 100% gain on the at the money calls, on the at the money puts, like the puts with the 170 strike price. Those will be up 100% out the gates. All right, the out of the money contracts will not move that much. They will only be up by like maybe 30 or 40%. They might even be down because of the IV. The IV is gonna drop back down. They might even be down. So watch for just the value of those contracts to stabilize, and also watch for intraday close with AMD and the other semiconductor stocks for a continuation down. All right, that's kind of why I share with y'all Intel to start with. Intel seems simple enough. It already had its earnings and it's trickling down to 40. So watch that one and this one as well. Another stock that reported earnings, I told you guys, out of all of these stocks, Microsoft was the one that I was leaning the most bullish on. And it turns out that it held its own. It's one of the few stocks that held its own during earnings right now. Unfortunately, for anybody who gambled through it, this one is an IV crush where the calls and the puts get annihilated out the gates. All right, and you have to look for new intraday structures on this one. Given the circumstances of the markets, I think the stock is going to play games. When the market starts to rotate down, you don't want to be trying to do too much on a strong stock that's not going to move, right? You want to trade the stocks that will amplify the moves of the indices. Like let's say the indices, let's say it drops tomorrow by a total of negative 1.5%. All right. You want to be trading either the indices or stocks that are likely to trade at least that amount or more, like dropping at least like negative 3%. That way you can make more money on these day trading opportunities that could appear, right? Now with the FOMC meeting, I'm that one I'm also gonna say look for intraday clues. Set your alerts again with the range that I gave you guys on the SPY. All right. If the reaction is so wild and it turns out to drop below 49.20, we're most likely heading much, much lower. All right. So that's all I can say right now. I'm not leaning bullish on the markets. I'm leaning a bit more bearish, but again, this reaction to the FOMC meeting is something that we all have to patiently wait for and look forward to tomorrow. Now, let's look at another stock that had earnings. That one collapsed. Google dropped. It didn't. Again, this, I told you guys it was difficult for me to tell you guys anything about the stock. It didn't give any clues beforehand, right? There was really nothing. It's just a very slow uptrend. And so far, it's about to open up right here at 142, right? So expect a similar situation to what happened with UPS, where we see an inverted hammer. Like it might try to make a push up to 145 just to take care of the gap on the left right here. And then if I'm right about the FOMC reaction, the stock is going to get brought back down from 145 all the way down to 140, and it's going to close there as a hammer. That's what I'm kind of seeing and hoping for tomorrow. Again, it all depends on what news is going to be released. All right, so that is pretty much the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. Again, I release these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 10 p.m. all right, so definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you whenever I release these videos. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, along with the trades that I take, the price targets and the stop loss and all of that, the reasons why I take the trades to begin with, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Paul Nguma and the Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in the next video.